Today, we're talking about traveling with a drone. Now, I love technology almost as much as I like backpacks, but when it comes to which drone and how to pack it, things get a little crazy when it comes to what maybe is the best one. So we're gonna talk about some of my favorite drones going into 2026 that you might want to consider picking up in the holidays, putting on your Christmas list. Links in the description to these. And really what it comes down to is the packability and some trade-offs from what you're packing, what you're going to have when you get to your destination or while you're traveling for the holidays or wherever you happen to be going into 2026. So let's get into it. Traveling with drones, which ones to consider for next year. So I have a host of drones, quadcopters, whatever you want to call them, and some of these have been sent to me for test and evaluation, some of the latest and greatest, some I purchased just because I love what they're doing. So I really wanted to, talk about some of my favorites. Really comes down to 3, I would say, maybe 4, but there's a big consideration with what I'm talking about is the DJI branch of drones that are available right now. So we'll dive into that. But then I really want to talk about the packability of some of these drones. The coolest thing here on, the most unique, is the latest and greatest anti-gravity A1, which just came out, the first 360 drone. And I know there's some new ones coming out from other companies, DJI for one, that are gonna maybe shake up the market when it comes to 360 drones. That's cool. But again, we'll get into that. And so let's just start off with it. Let's talk about the DJI elephant in the room. If you are a current owner or someone considering getting a DJI drone in 2026 or here at the end of 2025. Now there is a lot of news and we really don't know where this is going to end up, but it's already started. It's difficult to get DJI products, at least the drones. And so that's really going to be the hardest part. If you want to consider the Mini 5 Pro, now this is a Mini 3, I didn't even jump into the Mini 4 because this one is still very capable, or if you're looking at the Neo 2, which I did find. And so really, when it comes down to like what are my top 3 for traveling with a drone, well, the Neo 2, or maybe even the older Neo 1, the Hover Air X1 Pro Max, an 8K drone, which is really cool. I'll show some footage from that sucker. That's really cool. Or this anti-gravity. Pros and cons to all of them. The reason that I really can't dive into the Mini 5 Pro or a Neo 2, or the reason I would at this time not really recommend them necessarily, is only from the availability and sort of the question marks going forward in terms of availability, repairs, and that kind of thing. You can buy this now. In fact, I bought this on Amazon. It arrived the next day. Super cool. There are places that has the DJI products in the United States. The problem is you're overpaying for them. You're not paying the DJI prices. There's a markup related to acquiring any of the DJI drones going forward. You can still activate it, all that stuff. Super easy. But again, lots of questions, right? So I like the Neo 2, lots of improvements over the Neo original. And really, I just got this yesterday, and I'm still exploring all the capabilities. But everything that I liked about the Neo, here is in the Neo 2. But again, not one of my top 3, I would say. Well, it is in the top 3, but when it's hard to recommend just because of the availability of it. That's really the biggest negative, I would say, but a capable drone. Its packability, we'll get into it here in a second. The number 2, and really its direct competitor, is this Hover Air X1 Pro Max, which I've had for a while. They did send this to me for testing, and it's really, I would say, very, very capable. And of these 2, the one I would recommend. Now, the reason that you haven't seen a full review of this one on my other channel, JB Flies, is because its biggest negative for the longest time was its price. And for what if you were comparing at the time the Neo to the Hover Air, there was just a big gap in price. Now, obviously a lot more capable drone, I would say, in the Hover, line because of the 8K, and they have a lot of improved features that we see some of it in the Neo 2, but not 100%, mostly because this one's still 4K, this one goes up to 8K. Now there is a price difference, of course, but it's still with holiday sales, and I think with the advent of the Neo 2, we're seeing a little bit of a holiday price break, so definitely go check out the link in the description for this one because it is a significant discount if you, depending on how you package it with different bundles. But still, the prices dropped dramatically. Still a very capable drone for what you're getting, and its packability is amazing, which again, we're going to talk about packability. Switching gears from the ultra portable category to what is more of a full feature drone that you might want to travel with, that's where the A1 comes from, the anti-gravity. And what's super cool about this is, again, the 360 view you get from the upper and lower lenses, nothing on the front. Ton of internal features to do various things. The negative is more stuff. And for that, we need a motion controller, we need goggles, and you know, if you want everything out of this bag, you've got batteries, the battery charger, and then of course the battery that goes with the goggles. So we had to have more things that you're trying to pack. Now, if certain packages come with this handy dandy case, if you're traveling, so let's just say you're a minimalist traveler going with just carry-ons, you know, you can have a backpack. This could be your other smaller personal item on most airlines. It's because it's very small, very packable, and you know, it's cool, right? It is, I think, the best way to go if you're just going to bring this along. The problem is, you know, kind of screams drone because it's very similar to other companies' cases. And so that's just like the negative. But for me, I typically like to travel a little more incognito. So I would travel with, let's just say, a double compartment bullet from GORUCK. This is their latest release, which I really love the texture and fabric and what everything they put into this. On sale also at GORUCK. Put a link in the description to this because it's something you might want to check out. But me personally, again, if I'm going to travel, bringing the drone along with me, I'm going to pack it in its case. Then I'll have everything I need, and I'll be able to separate that from my travel stuff. But really, if I'm traveling light, or maybe I'm using another bigger duffel to carry the bulk of my stuff, and I'm using this for tech, which is typically what I do, then I'm going to break all these little pieces and store them in a backpack of choice. And they'll fit in any backpack because all these little pieces will fit in a lot of different places. What's really cool about the anti-gravity's travel capabilities is it comes with this protective shell, which is amazing. Fold the arms in there and slap it in this thing. This thing is essentially indestructible now. Put it in any compartment you want and travel with it. The goggles are a little more, I would say, troublesome, although because the antennas fold in, like the DJI goggles, and they come with lens protectors for the inside, you can throw this sucker, again, in any pocket wherever you want it to. It does fit, if you're an Evergoods fan, and you have one of these Cap 2s, it does fit nicely into a Cap 2, so that's how I would travel. I would probably just throw these two things in there. Then really the only thing you got to worry about is this fairly robust motion controller. And there you go. That's how everything would travel in that configuration. And then this stuff, again, pop this into any compartment on any backpack. It's going to move famously. Or travel with the big container or the big case that it comes with. Either way, those are the two modes that I would travel with this X1. The advantage this one has over everything else is, like the 360 movement in cameras, like if you have an Insta360 X5 or X4 or really any of the 360 cameras, as you're walking around recording the entire world around you, you can go back later and re-edit the footage several times and make it look like a multi-camera shoot. Well, when you're flying this thing around, wherever you happen to be, it's recording everything around you, and it's easy, very easy to go back and reframe the shot with the 360 capabilities of the A1. And again, this camera that they're using is essentially the X5. Replaceable lenses, You know, it comes with propellers. The battery lasts, I would say, plenty long for anything you're going to do with this kind of camera. The transmission range is amazing. From the goggles, the goggle features are super cool. And again, you're going to want to check this one out. I did another video on my other channel, but I'm highlighting here just because I just kind of wanted to talk about the packability of it from, you know, the travel perspective. So again, the anti-gravity A1, here's some footage. How cool is this? This thing is just flying around. I'm able to look at different things from the goggle perspective while I'm just flying in a straight line with this. It's way better. Well, I wouldn't say way better. It's just a different experience from other drone experiences where you have the ability to look around, like from the Avata line. But again, excellent camera quality. Very familiar with the Insta360 line. Highly recommend going to check this one out. The negative, again, mostly like when we talked about the Hover Air, the price of this thing is kind of high. I would just venture a guess that we might see price adjustments over the holiday. I don't know, it just got released. But when other competition gets released from, like, let's say DJI, you might see some price adjustments. But right now, it's on the pricey end, but you are getting a unique perspective, 360 capability, very nice, I would say, polished design, with more capabilities, I'm sure, coming into it as they figure more stuff out, refine the technology, that kind of thing. But in terms of cameras, I've kind of all gone into the 360, or at least from 360 and really the Insta360 line of cameras. I got rid of all my GoPros, I got rid of all my DJI stuff. I'm really a Ace Pro 2 and X5 person when it comes to filming all my content, just because I love the quality, the stability, the battery life, everything. And you know, now that they've kind of put it onto a drone, I'm a fan. All right, switching gears to packability of some of the other, I would say, more transportable drones. If you're just heading out for the day with really no agenda and you might want to film something, the A1 is really not something you're just going to lug. It's more purpose driven. Hey, I want to capture something. I'm going to someplace cool. I'm going to use this thing. But if you're just out and about and like, boom, pop it up, want to use it, you're really going to come down to either you have the Neo 1 from before, the Neo 2, or the Hover Air. These both, in terms of packability, are very, very similar, different, but similar in terms of packability. So, for instance, the Neo 2 will pack really nicely in, let's say, a GORUCK grenade. Grenades have been out for a while from GORUCK. This happens to be their more mass-produced version, when they used to be hard to find and get. Now they're on their website, you can get it. This thing fits just perfectly right inside the footprint of the grenade, which again, I typically use these as more packing tubes than just on-body transportation. The field pocket also fits inside that footprint, so you have a nice and easy way to pack this thing around town. The boogie bag, one of my favorite things of all time. It does fit, but it's a little more awkward stretching the dimensions of the bag, and so I don't necessarily recommend using the boogie bag just because of the dimensions of the Neo 2, or really even the Neo 1. The first Neo did fit a little better just because it's a little bit smaller. The Neo 2 is a little bit of a stretch, a little more awkward to get it in and out. Now when you're talking about the Hover Air X1 Pro Max, because the wings fold in, because the things just fold together, it definitely fits way easier inside the boogie bag, and again, because it's smaller, will fit also wherever you could put the Neo 2. So just expanded capabilities of carry for the Hover Air Pro Max. And again, I'm a fan of the Pro Max just because really the quality, the stability of it, really impressed with its wind capabilities, because you can be in a windy day and this thing be moving around, and because it's a two-axis gimbal, will just smooth everything out. Very impressed with the Hover Air X1 Pro Max. Highly recommend it, especially now that the price has dropped. Again, the Neo 2 is cool. Diving into that more, but again, because of availability, I just a little hesitant to recommend diving into that right now. I would go with the Pro Max if it were me, and it is a little more pocketable, whether it's in your hoodie or the pocket of your pants or a jacket, that kind of thing. Travels really well. Comes with a little handy dandy little travel sack bag to put it in there, and really the only thing you're missing with this is the battery, and one little extra battery, charging case leaving your room. And then there you go. Take one more battery, that's it, and that's the way I would roll. There are other accessories that you can get with the Hover Air and the Neo 2 or the Neo 1. We're talking goggles, motion controllers, handheld controllers. But for me, that ruins the whole mystique of this class of drone is its portability and its ease. When you set this Neo 2 up from your phone, same thing with the Hover Air. You don't need your phone. You launch, record, recover, pocket, and go. And so the utility of these is way more simple. I don't like the other capabilities. I just don't use them typically. The reason I love these is because of the simplicity and the pocketability. So that's why I would go with Hover Air Pro Max would be my recommendation right now because of its capabilities and the price drop for the holidays. Again, link in the description. Go check it out. So that's it. That's the traveling with. That's the some of the features that you're getting with the more pocketable drones, I would say, versus more full feature yet very transportable because it fits down into a smaller footprint. You kind of break apart the pieces, but it does require more to make it work. And that's just what you're getting with the A1. Still very capable. That's it. Hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel. More content coming soon. In fact, if you're watching this to this point in the video and you want a best of 2025 list from me, I know there's not a lot of videos this year from me on, say, backpack world, but I could tell you where I am now and what I'm using and the reason I did what I did and what I actually am using now that I've had a chance to have some perspective, get rid of the things that I just wasn't using. So there you go. We'll see you in the next video. See ya.